The Board of Trustees of Crystal City Independent School District will meet in regular session at 6 p.m. Monday, May 11th, 2026, Administration Building, Boardroom 613B, West Zavala Street, Crystal City, Texas 78839. Call the meeting we're at.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Mr. Vince Martinez,
Here.
Mr. Sammy Houston,
Here.
Mr. Cruz Mata,
Here.
Mr. Victor Bonilla III,
Present.
Mr. Gabriel Espinosa,
Here.
Mr. Ray Espinosa,
Here.
Mrs. Peggy Young.
Here.
We do have quorum 7-0. Moment of reflection. Item 4, public comments. Mr. Davis. Informational items, 5A, TA conservators report. Sorry.
Turn this around.
Sure, please.
President Martinez, members of the board, Mr. Grill, I'm John Hines. I'm one of the co-conservators assigned by TEA because Benito Juarez earned an F 3 years in a row. I'm with Dr. Reno over here. She is the co-conservator. I get to talk about instruction. So it's good. Let me give you two things, two handouts. I want you to. Sorry, I didn't have any more. Thank you. We have created a pre-K kinder roundup that is going to be awesome. Ms. Mata and her team has created this community event.
And I'll just help them out a bit. As you'll notice, we have 40+ businesses. We also have the athletics helping us with the obstacle course. We have Starlets performing. We have the drumline that'll be performing too. We'll have the DJ, the Southwest Texas Cowboy and Clucky. We'll have our book fair open as well. We'll have transportation. We'll have bus. We're bringing in the community in hopes to partner up with them. And we also want to make sure that we provide several resources to the community, that we're not just a family at school, we're a family as a community, and we want to make sure that we provide that type of information to them. I also want to thank Crystal City Little League for canceling all T-ball games in support of our pre-K roundup and its success.
And the intent is to get community involved. And whether the kids, you've got kids coming to pre-K kinder or not, we want you there. We've got all of these business partners. Hopefully they'll be with us through the whole year when we do different events so that we can benefit our community. They can come and be a part of the school, and the kids can be excited about what's going on at school. Hopefully we can do this throughout the year, maybe with a fiesta or a fall carnival, those kinds of things, and be a part of the community. We want our kids to be excited about what's going on in schools. All right? Do y'all have any questions?
Because this is just to get new K4 kindergarten students, right? But also try to just create community engagement.
No question. I mean, like on this kids, I mean, are gonna be participating? Is there a certain attendance that they must have in order to participate?
Is there a certain what?
Their attendance?
Their attendance, we want them to, they want to be a part of it too, and we welcome every type of participation.
So you're not gonna,
Attendance or anything, we
not gonna keep anybody
want
back.
them to be a part of it.
And hopefully the parents of students who will be coming into pre-K will bring their kids and see what the school's about.
We'll have a full day pre-K.
We have a full day pre-K for 4-year-old.
Pre-K 4.
Good.
Other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Chubby?
All right. So what I'd probably say tonight is there's really two large bodies of work happening simultaneously. First is the financial and operational stabilization work that Dr. Reyna and Mr. Guerrero have been leading and will continue to discuss tonight. My primary focus this month has been really centered around instructional systems, campus structures, leadership support, and preparing the district for what happens after the stabilization. Because ultimately, once the dust settles financially, the district still has to be ready to teach at a high level on day one next year. One of the biggest instructional projects we've worked through has been the elementary reorganization planning. That has involved far more than simply moving people or positions. We've been reviewing staffing measures, master schedule possibilities, intervention systems, support services, teams alignment, instructional staffing allocations, special ed support, and leadership structures to determine how we create one strong elementary system instead of separate elementary systems operating independently. One thing that has become very clear through this process is that district structure evolved over time as if Crystal City ISD were operating as a much larger district than it actually is today. In reality, this is a small district operating essentially 3 small schools: elementary level, junior high, and high school. Over time, layers of staffing, systems, support positions, and operational structures continue to grow even as enrollment and financial realities change. The staffing and organization systems moving forward have to reflect the size and operational realities of the district or where we are today, not the district we may have been years ago. We also spent significant time working through the LIFT grant, I have a handout for you, and the SI add-on PLC grant, which together represents more than $500,000 in instructional support opportunities for Crystal City ISD. We've already begun aligning those grant opportunities with leadership development, Bluebonnet implementation, STEM scopes planning, professional development, instructional systems, and long-term campus support structure. I'm excited about this work because it gives the district an opportunity to build instructional systems that last beyond the current moment. I've also been meeting weekly with campus principals and district leadership teams to work through planning, systems alignment, staffing structures, operational concerns, instructional priorities, and long-term campus support needs. Those conversations have been important because they help us move the district from reacting to day-to-day toward actual planning ahead. I also wanted the board to know that even though many conversations right now are centered around budgets and staffing, we have not lost sight of instruction. In fact, many of the difficult decisions are being made specifically so that the district can preserve classrooms, strengthen leadership support, improve instructional systems, and create long-term sustainability for students and teachers. I know there's still a tremendous amount of work ahead, but I do believe the district is beginning to move from reaction mode towards structure, alignment, and long-term planning. And that's where real improvement finally has a chance to begin. So that's what we've been working on in addition to everything else that's going to be talked about tonight. Any questions that I can help you with?
Yes, sir, I have a comment, and it's one that I brought up before,
Yes, sir.
not but in previous meetings, and that is about child development. It's been my belief that the kids, they academically seem to do okay up to the 3rd grade. And then for some reason, and this happens regularly, because in the years I've been a teacher, I think it's successful maybe 2 times then things change, you lose principles of whatever reason. But I believe that there's a developmental issue also, not just academics, because you can look into different systems that deal with academics, but we also need to make sure that our teachers focus on developmental skills too. It's been well, first of all, just so people know that I'm not just talking. I have 2 lifetime certifications in elementary education. In fact, when I came back to teaching, that's why I started. And it seems that when you get to that stage, it's like there's a slight freeze and the kids. I don't want to just say academic, but something obstructs their development, their natural development as they were going. Because I noticed that once they leave 5th grade, which is the highest grade level at Benito, they go to the junior high, they start moving academically. And I have brought it up before that that the trainings that we give our teachers at that level should also include developmental trainings, so we can look at that aspect and not just instructional systems. Because, like I say, you can throw tons and tons of instructional systems, but if something is keeping our kids from absorbing that, so I recommend that maybe we also focus on that part, that make sure that our teachers go back and get some kind of refresher course, because I know as elementary teachers, they also get child development training when they get in their certifications. So maybe we can just focus on making sure that when we do the trainings, that we also focus on that.
Put it on my list.
Thank you, sir.
I have another concern, Mr. O'Neill. Right now, you're only doing medical audits, or you're also going to the early pre-KK, first, second, third?
Pre-K through 12.
You're also monitoring how the students are doing there and how they're going into 4th grade and 5th grade, or they prepare
Yes.
for clinical audits, because, I mean, the kids are not prepared from 3rd grade on. Then, I mean, in clinical audits, they have to try to get them at level and also be preparing them for the test. So is that something that you're monitoring?
Is that something?
That you're monitoring?
Yes, sir.
That, I mean, we have enough kids from the elementary schools that will be ready to take the test.
Yes. Matthew and I have already got a plan, so when the scores hit, the system is gonna pull it, we're gonna disaggregate it, then we'll study it with the principals. Yes, sir.
I want to say something, but I'm going to hold back for right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5B, the CFO reports.
On page 7 is the first report.
7?
Yes. Page 7, which is the financial status of the district current standing. You'll find out at the bottom of page 7, it's circled in red, says general fund. That balance is actually a little higher than it is as of today, as of this report. That's all the money we have available. They need.
That's cash on hand.
cash on hand. And it's actually less than that. Move over to page 11. That's our clearing account. Simply when we process payroll or accounts payable, we transfer money from the account you just saw into this bank, which is our depository. And that's where the checks are transferred or processed through. The next item on that list of fiscal report is your outstanding debt. We'll find that probably on page 21, I think it is. What you have there is as of the date of that report, and it does not include, I'm giving you the last page of that report, but I added something that was left out, which is the balance taken from the debt service fund at the end of year 24 and 25, September of 25. Notice that balance of current outstanding debt is bills for the current year, 25, 26, dragging along that horse that I mentioned, that dead horse of the prior year bills, which this year has had to answer for. Currently, that's $1,178,000. The balance owed to the debt service fund is $2,727,078.92. Combined debt currently is $3,905,616. That's the debt for the bills we know of. I mentioned to you a while back, I called them ghost bills. Well, this is all that's shown up. This is the outstanding balance in debt. You have any questions?
Yes, Robert, is there any way you can give us, information, what is it that, I mean, or outstanding, bills, I mean.
There's a list right there.
24.
There's a list, and it's by date.
Right.
So you look at that page, of that document, you'll see the bills, the names of the vendors,
What
the
page is
amounts,
that?
and those that have a purchase order.
What page, do you know?
It's right there, sir. It's page
Starting on page 14,
14 all the way to page 21.
board package.
A lot of them.
The dates on here is when it became due.
There's dates, they were incurred and the date they're due. Now, all of them have dates because they showed up. And they were incurred without being processed with the system that the district utilized. So processes were not followed. So you have bills that.
So no POs for a lot of these.
Correct.
I have were they just overlooked, Robert, or no mas?
I wasn't here, so I don't know, but when I got here, there were stacks of bills at the superintendent's office, and the secretary there was trying to process them as she was getting them. The process was that were acknowledged at the campus level, there were requisitions, the process should be requisitions, then they're keyed in at the secretary's level at that campus, through the system, the ascender system that we utilize, that recognizes the bill or the request against the account and recognizes whether there's funds for it or not. That was not followed. They were basically all hand brought over to the secretary's office for her to key those in. Some acquired purchase orders, not by that office's fault, but simply because they were incurred and brought in. The process were not followed.
Robert, you were not here, you left, you retired, and then Maggie comes in, and I think she was fired. We brought in Lorenzo Cepeda. Do you think, I mean, he's responsible for all?
I have no idea how the district managed after Ms. Flores left.
Because when she left, there was about $9 million in the fund balance.
That was reserves, yes.
Is there anything, is something that we can check to see?
That would be something you might request via the superintendent's office, and I'm sure you can identify. I know that he has put out, even in public meetings, the original budgets, the actual revenue, and the actual expenses, and the expenses far exceeded what was generated in revenue.
We never.
And it-
Because when we got the report that we started getting into, on the 24, 25 year, that's when TA took, the money that we owed them because of tenants, whatever. And I think, what's the amount of money that we get at the beginning of the year from TA? 5 million to start the year?
I don't know how much y'all receive on a.
Okay.
On a,
TA didn't take any money from the district.
Oh.
You need to understand this. TA did not take money from the district. TA did not take money from your accounts. TA stopped giving you that overage the following year. You were overpaid and you used that money along with all the funds that were in the debt service fund. The savings, the district ate them up. The district ate out the overpayments, and hence the position that the district is in.
So I mean,
The district ended up.
basically, all we've done for the last 2 or 3 years is pay bloated payroll.
I don't know exactly what we refer to it.
Because, now, and you remember, Peggy, when, we heard Mr. Cepeda, I mean, Diego, you and I were not voting on renewing this contract, and look at math. Those were the 3 years that he was here, and there was no accountability because the business office had been dismantled. And so he was given the authority to do whatever he wanted to. And in those 3 years, I mean, because he was still here in 24, 25, and that's when we finally found out that whatever he was doing. But, well, that's in the past, but.
Moving forward, the next report that you
Sure.
got there. Yes,
There, all these bills on here, are there any more that we're expecting or we're
I hope not.
waiting on or?
I hope not, because that's what we've got so far, but it doesn't fail that we will receive a call. We will get an inquiry or a letter from a vendor that we had not seen that's not listed. Hence, the term, those bills may show up and they scare the heck out of me. Moving forward, on the next page is page 22.
Sir, before you go any further, just I was gonna ask a question about that. On that chart you gave us, the one that has current obligations, you are sure, you know, that's, well, you've been here helping us out. Those are the actual debts that we owe right now. The current
That we're
one,
aware of.
well,
I mean, those are the bills.
you
that come in.
I just heard you mention the system, the way it works. But, so, the campuses submit, a bill or whatever, or they submit a request, it's approved, and the purchase is made, under whatever, arrangements, whether it's cash or,
No, we don't deal in cash.
okay, well.
A requisition is entered by the secretary at a campus level.
Okay.
It's entered into the
So-
system, generates a requisition. If it's approved by the campus, at the campus level, usually the principal, it moves forward.
Yes,
to
I already
central.
said that, I already said that. It
Goes to
comes
central
over
office.
here, goes to central office, and here, have you also been, since you've been here overseeing those debts, so you know what's on that list is accurate?
What we have on the list is the bills.
Or something.
When we process a requisition, it checks against the account and the balance in the account. But in the middle of last month, our superintendent halted all new expenses because we don't have funds to process any additional funds. So any additional bills are reviewed carefully and identified whether they're on a need basis or not. But prior to that, like I said, all bills were processed via simple processing and claiming them to a vendor. Some had purchase orders, not all of them had, but they didn't get processed and paid timely because of shortage of funds, as you can see. They didn't have funds to pay for them, so they delayed it.
You know, Robert, I am not going to beat a dead horse to death because, I mean, it's obvious that we are in bad trouble, but the shame of it, I don't see any corrections from any of Mr. Eads' reports.
Not yet.
Not a single correction. I mean, it's like, we get it, we read it, but nothing changed.
Let me make a comment to what Peggy said. We didn't make a correction because he kept telling us, you guys need a business office. guys need to have a business officer accountability, and we finally got it. That's what he was telling us. I mean, that's why you guys are getting into this thing, because you don't have a business office, and,
Well, it was totally dismantled.
that's what I'm saying.
On page 23, or I'm sorry, page 22, you'll see document says 26, 27 projection revenue. Page 22, what I've done is taken the TA template, which is generated by Mr. Omar Garcia. Go on over 58, but it still does this service for them. And the agency of Mo Casey, they do something similar using the data that's at the state level, and the team's data that's there is simply the fall submission, mid-year submission of this current year. Both agencies, you'll notice the same, pretty close to the same numbers. They use the same projected ADA. The ADA they're projecting for the following year compared to what we have in mid-year. Mid-year was 1,315 students. They're projecting at approximately 1,118 maybe students. A drop, significant drop, but that's the trend this district has experienced, okay? So these projections are based on those numbers. If you look down the column on line 61, the ones highlighted in yellow, these are the total foundation school program and available school fund program. These are projections. The difference is about 56,000 between the two estimates that both agencies generate for us. If you look at column A, at the bottom it says 3137. That is a excess in revenue, which is the amount that TA probably takes back, recapture. That's what it currently is projecting if the values stay at about the 10 billion that, oh, I'm sorry, not 10 billion, 1 billion that they have, that we're gonna have value on property value for next year. That would generate about $10 million in tax revenue with the same tax rate. The appraisal district currently is not using that as a preliminary number. They're projecting about 400 million less for next year, pretty much in the minerals. Values in minerals for production for next year, or the 26th year, is about 400 million less. Mr. Grill had mentioned a while back that it's almost a teeter effect. If we get less money from taxes, the state comes up in their support per child. But if we're getting less kids, we're gonna have less money, the district will have less money. So again, this is simply a projection of what's on hand, preliminary values, and projected ADA, not enrollment. The district does not get paid on enrollment, it gets paid on ADA, average daily attendance.
Let me just step in real quick, Robert. So there's a handout that looks like this with the cover page. It's not the spiral bound one that says line barger on it. It's a stapled copy here. And what's behind that cover page is some preliminary appraisal information. We also have Sonia Gonzalez from Linebarger here to speak to you all, but I just wanted to point out to you what Robert's alluding to, and then what Sonia will be speaking to here in a moment, is our net taxable values is 1.2 billion, but our adjusted taxable values is 235 million. That's what we think our tax rates are. Okay, Robert.
That is pretty much it in a nutshell. What we have is projection for next year. Again, it's very preliminary. We still have to finish the year. June is the final submission. We will hit those numbers hard because TA will see those numbers, and that's what they plan on paying us for the following year. And we probably want to be conservative with those numbers, and in case we have to adjust for lower ADA. Now, one light at the end of this tunnel is if these numbers are projecting higher values, once I just showed you, and in reality we get less value, less revenue from taxes, we're hoping the state comes in with the offset per child. That's on the M&O side. Then we've got a calendar, a preliminary calendar for budget planning. That will probably change as we move through the rest of the summer. Mr. Grill will share that with you, different dates and so forth, as we gain information from the appraisal district and from student counts. On page, do I need to give you an update on the back? And with respect to the bank, last Friday, they asked for some information. We provided it over an email. They've asked a few questions. We provided the information as best we have. Currently, I think we have 2 signatures that are due. We're supposed to get them out to them ASAP today. I don't think we're going to meet the overnight request, so we'll only be out tomorrow that we send the next one. One more signature. And then we're waiting on them to respond. You've got the documentation of the last board meeting and the numbers as well.
That's in relation to the bank note, right?
Yes, exactly.
Prime Bank.
Yes, sir. Page 25 is.
Robert, I just want to clear up something. You just mentioned, because I find it hard to understand the information that was given. But I had brought up that question before the meetings, you weren't here, that the money that we get from the state in reference to the kids, is it based on estimated enrollment or average daily attendance?
Average daily attendance.
Okay, we were informed that it was enrollment. That's what we submit those estimates. No, I just want to point that out. I heard you say that, you just repeated it,
Yeah.
that income comes from our average daily attendance.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Going back, you look at on that same page 22, you brought me up to this. You see line 47, it says total cost of tier 1. TA in the school district is in the business of instruction of education. Bottom line. So they project, because of that data that is submitted to them by all school districts in the PEIM system, the Public Education Information Management System. Through that system, via that system, we identify special ed kids, the basic kids, all the particular services that the district has to provide for the population the district has. That's a projected budget that we should have at the minimum. Doesn't say they're going to give us those dollars. That just says you should have something to that effect, no less than that. And then they identify per program, and you'll see the program there by, I think it's right about line 36. And maybe slightly above that, actually it's line 21, starts breaking up on different services. The responsibility comes to the district. We are supposed to fund that number, and you'll see it down there. It says about, line 48 says, less local assignment. If they project we're going to gain $10 million, they say 9.6 million you have to pay out of your pocket to fund this budget. The difference comes from the state. Hence, there's a value per child, and it's an offset. Either comes from local or comes from the state.
You know, we need to thank our lucky stars that the Winter Garden School did not submit anything for vouchers. They didn't.
Yes. And I apologize. Moving back to page 25 is our collections in taxes. Line 2F, we got prior year. We're going to put this together for us. And she's showing prior year and current year. Over on the left-hand side, right-hand side, column F gives us the general fund. And for this month, we collected about $18,136. And that's about 17% of the total projected for the month. As far as for the year to date, we've collected 87.59.
That's in what, Robert?
Taxes, current taxes for M&O.
Current or
Current.
delinquent?
Current, exactly.
You collected how much?
87.59 at the end of this report, at the end of the month, end of April.
My understanding that we collected since March till April, $120,000. I checked with the appraisal district.
Right. And this report is up to April, for the month of April, specifically April. But from September, actually, from September till end of April, we've collected 9,214,000.
Last year was about the total 14 million, right?
Last year, for the year, we collected, M&M&O was 12 million versus right now, to date, is 10 million. On page,
Can I, are you still in with the?
I'm with that, but actually, that's my report.
No, are you still with the tax collection?
Sure.
So can I ask a question to the attorney, Sonia?
I think she was gonna actually,
Stand to a presentation.
present in a little while.
So that's all I have. She's gonna do the rest of it, and she's gonna have fun.
Thank you, Robert.
She gonna be part of this report here?
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, members of the board, Mr. Drill, since we finished off there on some percentages and numbers, before, I know it's kind of a lengthy report, but just to touch on percentages, and again, we just handle the delinquent property tax collections, correct, not the current. So we're not gonna be touching the 2025 taxes till July 1st. That's when they're technically turned over to us for collection. But just to give you an idea, as of March 31st, 2026, for the year 2021, collection rate was at 99.2. For 2022, 99.4, 2023, 98.2, and 2024, 98.2%. That is the delinquent collection rate, okay? And those numbers will continue to evolve as we continue to collect on those back taxes. Just to give you a base there. But going back, if you don't mind, I left a copy of our report in front of each of you all there, page 6. So basically, I'm just gonna run through all of our collection activities. Feel free to stop me, I know it's a lot. Basically, we broke it down for years 2021 through 2025. So if you look at page 6, we start with our mass mailing activity. So there we reflect the number of letters that were mailed out to taxpayers and the delinquent dollar amount. So you'll see their total for the cumulative, there were 22,518 letters for a total of a little over $23 million. In March of 2022, so COVID, we had to deal with the aftermath. But the state reached out to us and asked us to help them roll out federal government assistance program. So we worked closely with the state, and basically what we did, we mailed letters to all the delinquent taxpayers who qualified for this program. And to be quite frank, it was free money. If you were delinquent, you went through the process, we walked you through it, then we referred you to the state, and those taxes would be paid, and you wouldn't have to pay them back. And just to give you an idea, just here in Zavala County, 67 delinquent taxpayers took advantage of that program. And we collected over $319,000 on that during that year. And we left sample letters there that were mailed out, that we continue to mail out during that time period. But we can jump to page 11. That's the target mailing activity. Anytime we go to court or we're able to settle anything out of court, notice of trial, dismissal, non-suit, this is what those mailings consist of. Just to give you an idea, I have court here anywhere between 2 to 6 times a month, the trial dockets. They're basically our tax trials in the 365th and the 293rd. Obviously, they pumped the brakes on those during COVID on everything related to litigation because the sheriff deputies were unable to serve folks with citations. So we hit a pause on that, and we worked with the appraisal district on just monitoring payment rate for those folks. So that's a reflection. So you'll see those letters, 4,148 for a little over $14 million of those. Outbound collections calls. You have our Eagle Pass office as well as the San Antonio office, where you have legal assistants and collectors working the Crystal City ISD account. And you'll see the number of outbound collections made during that time period, 5,588 on a little over 15 million of delinquent taxes. And jumping to page 13, same thing. You'll see the inbound correspondence and phone inquiries, as well as taxpayer walk-ins. Just to give you an idea, the taxpayer walk-ins are in the Eagle Pass office and the San Antonio office. And yes, believe it or not, when folks are in San Antonio, they call us and want to visit or make a payment. So they meet us over there or in the Eagle Pass office. So we just wanted.
Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Because it's been going
Yes.
through my mind. All right, these totals that you told us about on page 11.
Yes, sir.
Only school district, right? School
Correct.
district amount, but are these individual residents within the district, or these include also companies or non-residents, non-individual?
It's both. It's everything. Every delinquent account. Homesteads, non-homestead, agriculture, mineral, and business personal property as well.
I have a question, Sonia.
Yes.
When is it that, when you pay your taxes, it'll be, if you don't pay by January, it's gonna be 1%. If you don't pay by February, when is it, you get involved, when is it, I think it gets to 35% penalty for those people that do not pay taxes. When you send them the letter that now it's gonna involve 35% in attorney fees, do you see people coming and trying to make arrangements or?
Yes, not as many as we would like. The first thing they say is, why are you charging so much? Well, it's not us. This is a state mandated penalty and interest rate. This is the state that, and a lot of it, what we've learned throughout the years is sitting down with folks and explaining. It's that education of, many of them don't know that they don't have their exemptions on file. They don't know where to go for things like that, or if they're looking for a disability or over 65 deferral. Yes, a lot of times we do see that, but believe it or not, many times when we send out that I'm having a trial, folks don't show up. They don't show up. A lot of times it takes for us to get to the point where we file a notice of sale, and I'm sure all of you have seen in the newspaper, when we print all the properties that will be auctioned off, if it gets to that point, that's when we really see people show up or make phone calls.
My second question was gonna be, ma'am, of these totals, what percent is individual residents of the district, and what percent are companies or non-individual residents?
I can break that down in a separate report. There's if you look on page, we try to break down the status of accounts, but I think what you're looking for is kind of an analysis of every type of receivable. In other words, you want to know what percentage and the dollar amount is attributed to mineral delinquent accounts versus homesteads and personal. We can provide that to you. It's not in this report.
And the strategy that you guys use together with the appraisal district to
Yes, sir.
recoup that money, is it the same?
No, sir.
Or it's different?
It's different. We do walk and talk to businesses where we're here in person, and we'll go visit some of these businesses. With mineral companies specifically, tax warrants have been the most successful. As a matter of fact, July 1st, we already have some tax warrants prepared to file on some of these operators, because some of those are your biggest bills, quite frankly. And with residences, it's those phone calls and those letters and trying to make them feel comfortable to have that discussion one-on-one with them. So it does vary. It's just not, we just mail every same letter to everyone and make the same phone calls and follow the same script. No, we do vary that. Yes, sir. Okay, jumping to page 15. Prior to filing any kind of suit, we need to locate not just the owners, but all of the lien holders. So we have a research team dedicated to that. We don't want to file a lawsuit against the wrong folks. We have an abstractor that comes and checks title at the title company, at the county clerk's office, to make sure that we identify all the potential owners. Because many times, even though the resident himself will not pay, the lien holder will, because they want to protect their interest in that property. So that's what those numbers reflect there on page 15. When we jump over to page 16, that's what I mentioned, the title that is processed before we file any lawsuit. And again, we do have an abstractor, travels in from Del Rio, and actually checks title throughout the region to make sure that we identify all potential owners. And then we jump to 17, that shows you the lawsuits filed. You'll see during that time period, 269 lawsuits at $948,236. And again.
These are individual taxpayers or is it corporate owners or whatever?
Both. And if you'd like, later on, we can prepare a report and divvy that up. Going to 18, you see the tax warrants. Again, these are, I can tell you, just specific mineral accounts. Okay, so you'll see 30 at $386,000. And we don't just file the tax warrants. We do file lawsuits against oil and gas companies as well. But sometimes those warrants, especially if they just go for that year, is the most efficient way of getting these operators to pay. And we've had a great relationship with the district judges. They know how we operate, they know what we do, so they really allow us to get this moving, and it avoids filling their dockets with lawsuits, because they want those moved out. And speaking of, as I mentioned to Superintendent Grill earlier, district courts are now being, as far as their funding, is being based on the dockets they have in their court system. So if you've been hearing from constituents that they're getting a lot of letters to show up to court, that's because these courts are setting dismissal dockets, which means if you don't have anything to enter, if you're not ready to go, they want to dismiss these cases. So what we have to do to protect the interests of the ISD's claim is enter a judgment. So we have a trial, we go through the whole process, and we have that judgment in place. Now, even though we have that judgment, doesn't mean folks are going to be foreclosed on. They still have an opportunity to enter into a payment arrangement with the appraisal district. And if they have that payment arrangement in writing, by law, we cannot foreclose on their property.
And the arrangement is made by?
The arrangement is made by the appraisal district.
By the appraisal district.
By the appraisal district, yes, sir. So going to the bottom of page 18, that just shows you the judgment amounts and the number of judgments that were entered, number of dismissals and release of judgments. What that means is they paid. So we were able to get rid of that judgment and not have to file a notice of sale on that one. And we can jump here to 20. And there's the American Rescue Plan that we were talking about earlier. So as of May 6, 2024, $319,000 were submitted for 67 accounts to the appraisal district. And I can tell you, just because we do work in Pearsall and Catula and Eagle Pass and Del Rio, this was a significant number compared to a lot of the surrounding ISDs. And at the bottom of 20, unfortunately, like they say, we don't want to foreclose on folks' homes, but that's part of the job if they're not in compliance with the payment arrangements set forth by the appraisal district. So we list the tax sales down there. We do 2 to 3 a year. If we have a large number of judgments, instead of splitting them up into 4 sales, we just have big ones, which is what has occurred recently because of what's happening with the district courts here. Tax resales. If a property is not sold at auction, it gets struck off to the appraisal district. So basically, it's not that the appraisal district owns it. They're just holding it in trust on behalf of the ISD, the county, and the city. What we will do is combine, when we do have our regular tax sale, we'll include those resales again, just to be able to announce it to the public. And then per the tax code, any individual can come and submit a bid to the appraisal district for either the minimum bid amount or below the minimum bid amount. As some of y'all have sat on the CAD board know, if it's below the minimum bid amount, it has to be approved by the CAD board. But really, at that point, it's just a matter of getting that property back on the roll. Because once it's struck off the roll, it's not generating any tax revenue for the district. And that's a program we've been really successful in. Bankruptcy filings, you'll see at the bottom, again, this goes 2021 to 2024. It shows the number of the accounts. That's an add-on value service we provide at no cost to the district. Right now, as a matter of fact, I know we're working on a 2025 one that's pretty significant. But again, they filed in Connecticut, but we were able to file the claim on their business personal property that they had here in Zavala County. So as we update these reports, you'll see that reflected. And then we can jump over to page 24, which shows the collection revenue per fiscal year. I want to highlight, if you look at the column, year 2024 to 2025, November, you see this significant high dollar, $723,521. Again, and if you look, that was one account, it was a pipeline that we were able to settle with them in litigation. So those skew the numbers, but rest assured, I actually have the stack of the mineral accounts that we're monitoring for the 2025 tax warrant. But that was just a significant collection number.
But that was divided to
No,
both
sir.
entities.
No, sir, not this one. This is just ISD. Everything here is just applicable to the ISD. And then the analysis of the delinquent tax roll, we just like to do this so you have an idea of what it is we're working with, what's in litigation, what's in collections. This is on page 25. Bad address ECAT issue. Those may be double assessments. Those may be issues in which we're working with Capital Appraisal, the company that appraises the mineral accounts on behalf of the appraisal district. This is just, especially, I like looking at this because it gives me an idea of what it is that needs to get moved, what we're working with, what I need to visit with the appraisal district on, so forth, and so on and so forth. And then after that, I just went ahead and listed the top 25 accounts, high dollar down, just for your reference, because those are the accounts we're always looking at and monitoring, just because we want to make sure they're moving along.
Those are the ones with the big money.
Yes, sir. And you'll see many say 2025 year, so come July 1st, and they're turned over to us for collections. Those are the ones we're going to prioritize and move.
So, do we have a lot of those come in June?
Yes, yes.
Companies?
Some large mineral accounts, yes, sir.
That will come to the school?
Correct.
If
Once we file those tax warrants.
What's the typical timeline by the time from, you say July 1st every year is when you start issuing letters, correct?
For this July 1, the 2025 delinquent accounts will be turned over to us. So once we run it through, make sure we have clean address by the following month, we'll already start on the calls and the letters, and we'll keep refreshing the database on those. And we have a system, anytime a phone call is made on any account, it's recorded. So like that, we're in compliance, and if anyone complains and you all want to hear a phone call, we have that recorded, and we maintain copies of any correspondence going around.
Like whenever it goes to, by the time it gets to being sold at auction, what's the timeline from then, from the start to that point? Is it like a year, year and a half, 2 years?
It can vary. Sometimes you see a year, and what happens, they'll enter into payment arrangements, and then they fall off. And then they'll get back on, and they'll fall off. Now, I do know the appraisal district does have, first time you pay a certain percentage. If you defaulted and you go back, you have to pay a higher percentage, so forth and so on. So it varies. I wish I could give you straight, but every case kind of varies.
So in a case like that, what happens, okay, you're delinquent and they give you a payment option, but then here comes the new tax year and you have to pay. So now you have what they owe, and I need,
Yes, if we're in litigation, that new year rolls right in there. But obviously, I believe the policy they have is after the third one and you're unable to come up with 40 or 50%, they give us the green light to go ahead and either set it for sale or file a lawsuit. Because the only thing in Texas that a payment arrangement will prevent is one, from filing a lawsuit. Now, if lawsuit's already been filed, they enter into a payment arrangement, we can still go to trial with that, but we cannot set it for auction.
Whenever one of these property owners has an issue with whatever amount, are they supposed to deal directly with the appraisal district? Or like I see one note that the trust is working with Capital Appraisal. I'm familiar with that name.
Yes, sir.
Is the appraisal district also involved in that discussion?
Yes.
It's supposed to be there.
Yes, sir. And we actually won't touch that because Capital Appraisal will handle those mineral accounts. So once they come to an agreement with the taxpayer, they're the ones who are authorized to make whatever change to the delinquent tax roll. Once that supplement is entered, then it comes to us for collection.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the appraisal district itself.
Yes.
So any kind of decision, it's not made by Capital Appraisal by itself.
No, sir.
It has to be.
And just as an add-on, we do offer our law firm, we do have the bankruptcy, it's an added value, right? We don't charge the district for that, but we do also do property value studies. We partner with Moat Casey on any way we can help any district that we both work with. In addition, we do offer a home exemption audit with the appraisal district, just to identify properties. Maybe they just have not caught certain commercial properties or certain deferrals are on that shouldn't be. So those are just some added value services that we offer as well.
so on page 28 through whatever, they show the people that owe us money.
Yes, sir.
For 26, and I see some companies like 67,000, 60,000. So the ones that you guys don't have to pay because
Yes, sir.
it's big money, and this is for the schools.
For the, like, that 67,000, they only owe 2025. So July 1st, they're gonna, by law, we are required to send them written notices. And then at that point, if they do not reach out, they do not pay, we go ahead and proceed to litigation.
These companies maybe wait till the last minute to,
Oh, yes.
oh, yeah.
No, they do, unfortunately.
Any questions, anybody?
No, I mean, but, on this, on pages 28 through whatever, I mean, there's money that can be collected, most likely through either lawsuits or people making arrangements.
And you'll see some of those will say judgment interest. We've already gone to trial. They may have entered into a payment arrangement with the appraisal district. Once that drops, then we go to foreclosure on that. So that's why I wanted to provide you all with a status on each of those, because those are the ones we monitor. We monitor all of them, frankly, but those are the ones we always just keep a close eye on. We want to make sure that it's not sitting there.
Yeah.
No questions? No more? That's it.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So if I could, I'd like to just,
Names there, I know them.
I'd like to just summarize a little bit of what Robert's presented and what Sonia's presented. So if you'll look at page 22 in your board packet here on this particular spreadsheet. As we move into the months of June, July, and August, we're going to be having a series of budget workshops. And it's important for you to understand that we have to have a very accurate picture of what our potential revenue is going to be. So if you'll look at line
Page, sir.
22. So if you'll look at line 47 on this spreadsheet, 48, and then 61. So the total cost of tier one, 15 million, is going to be what our target is for our budget, okay? And how those numbers arrive is then looking at local fund assignments. So that's what Sonia's been talking about. That's our tax collections and delinquent tax collections. So local fund assignment comes from local, okay? And then on line 61 where it says FSP, that's Foundation School Program, state aid, that's state money. So those two numbers, when you add it up, your local fund assignment, which is line 48 and then line 61, and we're looking at budget, and you're wanting to know, well, how did you come up with that revenue amount? It's this spreadsheet. Now, this is a very overly simplified spreadsheet. The actual spreadsheet that Robert's working with is huge. It's multi-pages on legal size paper. And we have to enter in what we call full-time equivalents. So all our different special student populations. So special ed, CTE, dyslexia, ESL, bilingual, and so on and so forth.
Do we still get money from the migrant program?
Very little, but yes. So each one has an allotment. So when you hear WADA, weighted ADA, that WADA, the weighted part is where these allotments play into, right? So it's either good information in, good information out, or trash in and trash out. In other words, if we're not filling out the template with the right information, it's not going to spit out the right revenue amounts. And I have a feeling that was part of the problem here in the district is the templates weren't being accurately entered, and so they were giving inaccurate information, probably out of ignorance, not out of someone doing something devious, but nonetheless, the question about enrollment is just one factor into this equation. You also have to factor in what is your M&O tax rate based on what we call an MCR, which is a compressed tax rate. Basically, now the state tells us what our M&O tax rate is going to be. So this is a good primer. This discussion we've had both with Robert, previous to Sonia's conversation, as to when we move into the next several months, where we're showing you how we develop the budget. Because we're in a survival mode. We're not in a normal budgetary development process. Normal being one of two different methodologies. We have what's called zero-based budget, which is where you start out with zero and you make principals and their departments justify all the expenses that they want in the budget. That's one method of developing a budget. Another process is really the better one of the two options is you use the campus and district improvement plans, which have needs analysis embedded in them, to drive the decisions on how to build the budget. Now, that is the optimal way. That is the way you should build a budget. What I'm proposing and what I'm trying to set the stage for in this discussion is where we're moving into in June, July, and August as we start having budget workshops. We have a not to exceed number, and I'm just going to say 15 million because that's about what is shown in these spreadsheets that Robert has shown you. And we've got to understand that we've got to trim approximately $6 million out of that 15 million. So that leaves us $9 million to fund everything, okay? And when you say, well, where's that $9 million coming from? Well, we just took out a loan, $4.5 million plus 7% interest. We owe the district $2.7 million plus interest from borrowing from our INS account, which was illegal, okay? We have slightly over $1 million of debt owed, okay? And so when you start adding all of that up, there's where you come up with that. We're never gonna hit 9 million. We can't cut 9 million. So the other side of this is we have to raise our revenue in different ways. So getting our delinquent tax rates up, getting our tax collections up is more revenue. The pay-to-play discussions that I've had with you all is revenue in. And then the VADER, the voter-approved tax ratification election, which I'll speak to here on a different line of the agenda. That brings revenue in. That's going to be something the voters approve in November if the board so chooses to go. So with that said, we've got to cut minimally 20 to 25% in our personnel costs, because that's where everything's, like you said, we're just blowing on that. 90% plus our budget's tied up in payroll and benefits. And when we discuss these things, I'm quite certain many of you at this table and people in the audience and people in our faculty and staff and in the community are going to say, that's too much, that's too much, that's too much. Because we haven't said no enough in years past that we have to do these things. And so I'm trying to set the table tonight with this discussion and understanding that these harsh decisions had to be made. So let's just do some simple math. We have approximately 300 employees, okay? Cut 20%, that's 60 people. Cut 25%, that's 75 people that are currently employed that we can't afford to have employed here. Now, who is the big question right now? So as we move forward in our discussions tonight, and then as we move into future board meetings, keep all those things in mind, because we're going to be making tough decisions. And if people pull back and say, well, not about this, and not about this, and not about this, sooner or later, we won't be able to get even close to the mark. So these are tough decisions. We can proceed with the agenda, Mr. President.
I have a question. I mean, since you're talking about the amounts that we owe here and there. On the report that you sent us Friday, I read through it, and it says that we have to pay back the $2 million settlement loan that was collected from Fluker Architects. I mean, that was not a loan, that was a lawsuit that we won. So why are you putting it here as a loan?
Because it wasn't spent correctly. It wasn't spent correctly.
Well, first, I want to remind the board, or at least refresh your memory, there's a gag order in that litigation, so we shouldn't be talking about that publicly.
I have a quick question. You mentioned raise revenues in different ways. One of the things that I've been asking since 2020 is the CCAMR outcome bonuses. Even though there's a 2-year lag, if I'm not mistaken, I think the state's working in trying to make it in a yearly payout for CCMR students. And just alone this year, I noticed that we had a little around over 25 students just graduating with a certificate, AA, and stuff like that. And so just putting that in monies, I mean, if we had 30, that was 105,000 that we could have gained. That's not including the CTE endorsements that students might have qualified for. Little things like that could be, and I don't know if there's something that you can look into. I know you have a big plate right now. I understand that, but something that, that's a different way of, getting monies in that hasn't been utilized, and we're losing monies, and we've been losing monies for a lot of years. And if we can establish that, that's something that could be coming in. I'm just,
If I could just step in, Sarah, if you make a note to what Bruce has just mentioned, so we can, I am not aware of what that is or what it's brought in, so I won't answer that, but we'll look into it.
it's the HB3 model.
I guess I just have one, sir. You mentioned that line 47, it's estimated by, okay, approximately 15 million. I know that this current year's budget is not, closed out entirely or realized entirely. What is our actual expenditures compared to the estimated?
Robert, do you know that answer?
Not off the top of my head, so we didn't generate that report. We did the month before, but we can get that to the superintendent's office and they can get it.
Okay.
Folks, just understand, if I don't know, I'm gonna tell you I don't know. I don't like to speculate on things. Not that I'm trying to avoid your answer.
Thank you.
Is that all the questions? I guess now we'll move on to the superintendent's report. I don't know if that was.
Sure, so that'll dovetail into that. First thing, it seems like I've been here a long time, but this is actually just my second regular board meeting, and really this is my first regular agenda. So I think you see an expanded amount of information on finance. We'll be doing that just point forward at our regular business meetings. So just a standing report is our ADA attendance. So our ADA's ticked up just a tad. Pardon me?
There's a.
I have a handout here.
Yeah, there's a handout for all of us.
So on page 27 of your board packet, and then following along on number 1 on my superintendent's report.
There's another packet.
Our enrollment, our ADA is up slightly. It's very marginal, but it is up. That's always a good sign. Usually things are trending down this time of the year. Kids get apathy and not interested in coming to school. Parents are tired of listening to their kids whine sometimes, so they don't send them to school. So seeing it come up a little bit is promising. So item number 2 on my list.
I guess for the board members, there is a packet attached in front of all of us with the superintendent's report, and that's what we follow. Is correct?
So in your board packet on page I stand corrected. It's in this separate handout here. Ray had asked for the last 5 years worth of numbers, and so I have that for you. So in 21-22, we were trending at 1882. The next year, 1880. The next year, we dropped up over 100 to 1774. Then 24-25, last school year, 1730. And then we don't have our end of the year enrollment, so some fall snapshot was 1493. So you can see that we've seen 2 years of drops in our enrollment. So 18 to 1493, so almost 400 students. Okay. And of course, we get funded by not enrollment, but average daily attendance, but that's usually driven by our total enrollment as well. So not sure where all those children went. There was some speculation, Ray, I think you mentioned something about pre-K kids, the 3-year-old pre-K kids was about 80 kids. That might tell us where 104 kids have gone from last year to this year, but we've dropped about 400 over the last 3 years. All right. Okay, legal, yes.
Chris, I'm looking at the chart that you were talking about, and it says it has one column telling enrollment. It has 6 columns of summer membership. What is that? What is a summer membership?
All right, so we submit twice a year. So the last Friday in October is what we call snapshot. So that's our fall enrollment. And then in June, we submit again. And so the state is able to see how much our beginning of the year and basically our end of the year enrollment numbers are. All right, so another standing report that I'll have this month is our legal expenses. If you recall, Peggy had asked for that information last month. We don't have any new bills. I do know that we've incurred some billing, but we haven't received those bills for this month, so it'll show up at our next report. Vince had asked if there was some type of staffing matrix or staffing pattern information that I could share with you all. So that's in your handouts here from TASB. And this is just a model. It's not hard and fast, but it is what TASB recommends. And so, for example, I'm just going to look at elementary, just to cite one grade level. For assistant principals, you really don't even qualify for a need for an assistant principal until you hit 450 students, okay? Counselors, you don't really qualify for a full-time counselor until you hit 351 students at the elementary level. Librarians and nurses, 1,000. Okay, so just giving you some food for thought when you say, well, you know, we have 3 counselors at the high school. Well, do we really need 3 counselors at the high school? If you look at the TASB matrix for high schools, it shows 2.5 counselors for up to 875 students. Houston, how many students we have at the high school? 450 students. So if you look at that matrix, it shows we only need 1.5 counselors. It's kind of hard to have a 0.5 of anybody, but my point is we have 3, okay? So we will be trimming back in those areas. And we'll be discussing that later tonight. All right. On our financial exigency plans that Dr. Reyna spoke to at our last meeting, tonight we'll be doing our contract renewals. We're basically recommending all of our certified teachers that are eligible for contract renewals. Tomorrow we'll be issuing those contracts. The difference in the contracts that we'll be issuing, they're Chapter 21 contracts modeled after TASB model contracts. The point is they will not have a specific position listed in it, like administrator or counselor or athletic director or teacher for that matter. They're all going to say certified educator. And what that allows us to do is then if after we issue contracts tomorrow, if we need to reassign people, there's not a property right to that title anymore because they're all germane in title. They're all certified educators. So we need to move the extra counselors from this location to that location or back into a classroom. The point is that gives us the greatest flexibility in reassignments.
Sorry if I may interject. Will administrators also have a particular,
Absolutely.
what's it gonna say, administrator?
No, certified educator, just
Oh, it's gonna be across the board.
everybody. Every single contract will say the same, certified.
Doesn't matter what level.
That way, if we're moving them from one position to another, they don't have that property right anymore to what's on the current contract. All right, so Thursday this week, I'll be issuing termination letters. This is primarily all your at-will employees that we determine we can manage without. Now, there's a lot of good people here, and I don't want to say anything other than that. The problem is we're just grossly overstaffed, and so we have to make these tough decisions. And I have actually had a few people, at-will employees, speak to me and ask me directly, am I gonna be one of those people? And I've had the courage to look them in the eye and say yes. And it's only been 3 different people, but my point is they've handled it very maturely, said, I figured that's what was gonna happen. But I'm arranging a time at the elementary school, then at the junior high, then at the high school, and then I'll do all the departmental district staff in the afternoon on Thursday, and I'll have a few words of hopefully kindness for them to hear, and then be handing them a letter. Some of them will probably be hurt, and you might get a phone call or 2 or 3. Understand that this isn't personal. It's what we've got to do to move forward. And at-will employees, at-will means they're employed at our will, and they can be terminated at our will.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
When you say at will, I mean, you're also talking about maybe custodians, cafeteria workers.
Yes, sir.
And do you know right now, how many, so I know about 4 or 5 that had submitted their letter of retirement.
And those are at your desk. There's a stapled packet of resignation letters that didn't make it into the board packet that I've received since we sent the board packet out. And I did ask the principals and directors to just have a faculty meeting and just tell them that if they're planning on leaving or they're planning on retiring, if they could just verbally let us know. A verbal is not a commitment. That means until they put it in writing that they resigning, it's just verbal. But if we know that there's someone who's leaving, we might say we need to keep a person to put into that position, because not every position is going to get cut. Not every at-will position is going to get cut. I mean, we still have to have bus drivers. We still have to have custodians. We still have to have people cooking the food and serving the food to the children. So those are all at-will employees. We still have to have police officers. We still have to have a level of instructional aides. But we don't have 75 at-will employees.
No.
And we're going to need to eventually get close to that 75 number. So there might be another round of cuts once we get a fine pencil to how many people we're letting go. And understand, we've been working, we being John Hines, Dr. Reyna, the principals, the directors, and myself, we've been working on this night and day through the weekend, trying to get the right list together and the right numbers together, and it's probably going to be all the way down to Thursday before we get it all done. So bear with us, because this has been a very quick turnaround to get all this done. I mean, literally, I've just been here a month, so, trying to figure out how to coordinate this with all the people here that work with me to make these decisions. All right, so then on Friday, we'll be issuing letters of assurance to those at-will employees that we know we're going to keep, because again, we've got to have a secretary or 2. We've got to have instructional gentlemen in different roles, driving buses, serving food, things like that too. The letters of assurance just basically say that there's an intent. That doesn't mean we can't draw that. All right, it's nothing binding. It's not a contract. It's just a practice. And it's basically a practice for people not to file for unemployment during the summer months and during holidays and things like that. And that's what the letter basically outlines. So they don't turn around and file for unemployment in June, July, and the first half of August. All right, so some other things that we need to be working on is improving our tax collections and delinquent collections. So Linebarger spoke to us about that this evening. I've mentioned the VADER, the voter-approved tax ratification election. So we have to do what's called an efficiency study. I'm going to talk about this in a moment, but the efficiency study is a requirement through legislation. So, and it's expensive to do, but we have to have that done before the board call for the VADER in August. So when we call for the board election in August, we also call for the VADER, if the board so chooses to do that. Okay, it's my strong suggestion that we at least look into it very heartily. All right, once we get the elementary schools restructured and settled into their location, it'd be my recommendation to the board that we look at selling this building that we're sitting in tonight. And possibly some other property that I'm not fully aware of, but I've been told we own. In other words, we don't need this building if we have empty room in one of the elementary schools, okay? And I don't know what this building is worth. I don't know if there's anybody be interested in buying it, but I will tell you that when I worked in Bandera, if you're familiar with Bandera, they had a horse racing venue there back in the 90s. And anyway, it went belly up, and the school district bought it to build a new high school on, and that turned into a real big thing. Well, the powers that be at the time, I was just a principal, moved their central office to that property, and then later that became a lame duck and the district sold it, okay? So I've been through the central office move in, move out thing in my past, and so this is a nice luxury, but we don't have money for luxuries here, all right? So more to come. On the Vader, now Mo Casey has submitted to us, and Sonia brought up Mo Casey a moment ago. They work with Mo Casey as well. So in your handout, there's this looking document here. It says Mo Casey on it. And I'm not going to go page by page. I'm just going to tell you that we're required through legislation to have an efficiency audit. The efficiency audit proposal from Mo Casey is $19,000, which is a lot of money. We were asking around this weekend, and I was told that was actually a pretty good price. So I don't know what a good price is, but I was told by a reliable source that $19,000 was not a bad. Mo Casey is a very well-known group of advisors that advise from school finance to school accountability, academics. They're really well-respected and well-known amongst education folks. So they do this. They have the former last two people who've been in charge of school finance at TEA, Leo Lopez and then Oscar Ayala, that now work for them. So I'm going to have them set up to do a presentation at the June board meeting so we can make a more informed decision on both a Vader and also if we're interested in hiring Mo Casey is doing the efficiency study. The thing that I want to point out is we can't cut enough out of our budget to get this district out of the situation. We have to raise revenue, and Vader will do that. I've attached, I'm not going to go into it, I've attached the former superintendent's payment disclosure form that we were required to submit to TEA on Friday last week. Martinez came in and signed it, and we submitted that. I just gave you the basic front pages. It was 84 pages long, first 3 pages. This was sent to us from our law firm, Juan Cruz. And so they got a copy of this as well. And me and Sarah worked on this, and Sarah worked with the business office on getting this completed and submitted. Okay, as I previously committed to the board, and I've met with the dean of Southwest Texas Junior College, and then later with President Hector Gonzalez. So Dr. Gonzalez provided me a proposal, which is in this packet right here. I mentioned it in my Friday update. Basically, they'll offer all the dual credit courses that they can offer to us at no charge, regardless of the student's income, family income level. If there's a course that's offered at the university that junior college can't provide us, then yes, we can go with other higher ed institutes. With that, we owe them $127,216. They're willing to wipe that slate clean too. And in exchange, they're asking if they can use our facilities for 2 night classes. One of them we're already providing, which is in instruction technology, and the other is a proposal that I'll bring to the board next month, and it's for welding tech. These are night classes for adults that would be using our facilities. Now, I did contact Dr. Gonzalez, wanted to make sure that the MOU stated that they would be responsible for any consumables that they might use of the district, in like a welding class, welding rods, whatever, and also if anything gets damaged, they'd be responsible for fixing those things as well. But it wouldn't.
Are you done with that one, with the college?
Wrapping up, yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'll be bringing that MOU to the board. What do you got, Ray?
Any report that you sent us, I think the following, the week, previous week, I think that, you went to, Region 20, I don't know if Robert, went also, that you had talked to the commissioner or somebody there, and that they had asked you that question, or as a question, that, either were, junior colleges that were charging, and they were upset about it, so were we supposed to charge, or, I mean, there have been.
Well, what I can say is, in Mr. Morath, our commissioner's presentation, he was talking about just new legislation that's happened over the last session that schools could be qualifying for. And so in that, he just asked, you know, how many of you have, you know, dual credit classes? Well, everybody raises their hand. All school districts provide dual credit. Not everybody pays for their students. Some schools, students have to pay for themselves. But anyhow, when he said, how many of you are having to pay for the classes, I raised my hand, and I think I was one of 3 people raised a hand. And so he just pointed at me and he says, I need to know who. And so after the meeting, he pointed me to David Marks, one of his subordinates. I told him. But then I talked to Dr. Gonzalez afterwards, because I let him know, Dr. Gonzalez know, I had this conversation. I was curious what we owed money on and whatnot. And so that's when Dr. Gonzalez came in with his proposal on wiping that slate clean. I can't say why they charged or why they shouldn't have charged or who did what. All I know is I got this proposal, and it was basically.
So on this deal that you're making with the college, we won't have to pay ever again if this student, I think that he mentioned something about, it's called the FAST.
Yes.
I mean, supposedly with that, I mean, all economic kids should be getting the credit free.
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
Well, I guess there's a misunderstanding. The way FAST works is it pays for those who are economically disadvantaged. So yes, about 75, maybe 80% of Crystal City might fall under that range, but we still got about 20 to 30% that don't. So those students who do not qualify technically still have to pay. So that's when the district comes in and pays. So, and that's where the CCMR comes in. That's why I've been keeping pushing for CCMR outcome bonuses to alleviate some of those costs. If we had done it back in 2020, back in when I first came in, we would have been getting money, $200,000, $300,000. That would alleviate those costs. Plus, we would have a surplus. But there's a misunderstanding, and I think what they're working on right now, the state, they're working on trying to get it where at zero cost, especially with books and technical programs. But I mean, again, you know, it's for low economic disadvantaged students. That's how the FAST started. It wasn't supposed to pay for all the students, it was just for those who were economically disadvantaged. So, if you have 10 students, of course, they're gonna pay, you're still paying $55, so there is a big cut.
But the amount that we were paying, I mean, it was more than those kids that could not pay, right? Well, I'm not gonna get into that, because I mean, you'll be looking into that with,
Well, what I can say is what Dr. Gonzalez said is, he put it in writing.
You put it in writing?
There's gonna be no charge for any student.
but just this year, or?
Well, I guess he didn't specify. I would assume it was now till whenever, but he didn't say that specifically, so I can't say that specifically. And he didn't say that specifically in his letter. What I gave you in writing is what he gave me in writing. My assumption is, I don't like to assume, is that this is something he wants to keep us actively involved with their junior college. Now, I did ask if there was a course that they didn't offer, that Sol Ross did offer. Was there a problem? He said, no, that would be fine. Okay, so wrapping up this superintendent's report, I know it's pretty lengthy.
Before you say that, just follow along your report. Can you remember we had a discussion once on the amount of money that our district invested in security? That we invested 1.5 million.
Yes.
And the state only reimburses $200,000. And like to find out why we only got that amount reimbursed and not the whole amount, because that was the understanding. At least that's what, when it got to us here, not before your time, Vince, when we got here, that was the understanding, they would get reimbursed.
So Ray also asked me about that. I did look into that.
Right.
And why y'all didn't apply for the grant, I can't say, but y'all didn't apply for the grant. And that money is long gone, so we can't qualify for getting that grant money. There were $250,000, so $500,000 grants.
I know we got some money back.
So I guess
if you can get us that information, I appreciate it.
Well, I've already looked into it, is what I'm saying, Victor. Point is that grant period's expired, so regardless if we.
Doesn't matter.
We won't get it. We can't apply for it anymore. It's gone. That's
just personal knowledge.
Yeah, about 4 years ago. Okay, so I had inadvertently stated to the community in my town hall meeting that we owed Hellas $99,505. I made a misinformed statement there. I thought that was for the track. No, that's an outstanding payment for the new synthetic turf on the football field. When I did talk to Hellas about this, we want to get that track done. That's $376,875. We have that in here. We don't have $376,000 for the track, but I would assume someday someone's going to be saying, why didn't we finish the track? And so I just wanted to give y'all what it would cost. Right now, I'm sure in a year or two, it'll be more than that to finish that track.
And let me ask you another question. Have we paid Hellas the remainder, or
No.
still owe?
No. What I have asked Hellas is if they would wait till October, then we'll have next year's monies in our hands and then if we could pay it out. And I've done that. We even owe our law firm, Juan Cruz, quite a bit of money. And we owe Region 20 $180,000. In fact, the report's here. Robert gave it to y'all. We have over $1.1 million worth of unpaid bills. Okay. Do have a few donation letters that came in. Help sponsor our kids go to Special Olympics. And so, in my understanding, the board approves donations. I hope that y'all don't mind me on small donations like that on the fly where the kids are either going to stay at the house till the next board meeting or I approve them, let them go.
That's
I
fine.
I approved it to let the kids.
I mean, it's hard to bring it to the board meeting.
Right.
I mean, if they're gonna give it, take it now, so the kids can.
So when I've been asked, about donations, what I've told sponsors here in the district as well as a few people in the community is write a formal letter saying this is what I'm donating and this is what I want it spent on, and we'll see that it goes to that direction. If it's a large sum and it can wait, I'll bring it to the board, but if it's something on the fly, I think it's common sense. I'm gonna go ahead and move on it with your understanding that it's for the kids or for the program, okay? All right, good.
Just, I mean, and about let us know so that if we see one of them in HEB or wherever.
Sure.
Thank them for.
Are we required to take action on that, or, I know not prior to, but if we can place it on the next agenda just to take the action?
And it is in your local policy, so I could do that. If y'all are okay with post tense, I bring it to the board for approval just to have it approved. I mean, I'll try to keep y'all informed as I get those in my Friday updates, things like that, and then we can just save them for a consent agenda. They might be post tense, is my point. All right. Item 13 on this superintendent's report, and audience, I apologize, it's long, I know. I'm going to be proposing, as we move into this next fiscal year, some monthly payroll instead of bi-monthly payroll. For example, paying on the 25th of the month. This isn't an action item or anything right now. I just want to bring it to your attention so when we get there next month, because there is a process that we have to go through in the business office with Region 20 to change our payroll system, how it's set up to pay for monthly payroll. I was telling Vince earlier this evening, in my 41 years in education, every district, which has been 5 districts before Crystal City, it's always been a monthly payroll, not a bi-monthly payroll. Now, state employees are on a monthly payroll as well. Doesn't mean we have to do this. It just makes some efficiencies in our business office by not having to generate payroll twice a month.
Yes.
And people who live paycheck to paycheck still live paycheck to paycheck. It's their total income isn't going to change month to month. It just, they'll get a check on the 25th of the month instead of on the 15th and the 25th of the month. Is there any strong feelings one way or the other on that? Okay, good. All right. It's my understanding as we start looking towards the summer, the central office, and this has been standard in the last 2 school districts I've worked in, they go to 4-day work weeks. They work 4 10s and have Friday's office. Still getting the same number of hours out of everybody. So they're working a 5-day work week. They're just doing it over a course of 4 days. It's just a nice little perk for the central office staff to have a little bit of time to breathe too. If that's okay with y'all.
We've been doing it for the last couple of years.
And that's what I understood. So we're probably going to move to that, just FYI, that's in a few weeks. Item 15, I think it's time next month at the next regular board meeting that we start turning the page on beginning the search for your permanent superintendent. I think it would be wise for the district to have the person that's going to sit in this seat with you all here when school starts or closely thereafter. It would be my suggestion that we begin that process. I have made the offer that I'll assist in that. There's no extra charge on my end to do that. I've done it in Sabinal. It's fairly straightforward work, but I can bring you timelines and initial information at the June board meeting. So you know, I'll bring that, and then y'all can make the final decision there. And lastly, I'll be out of the office this Friday. I have a little medical procedure this Friday, and then I'll have a follow-up doctor's appointment on June the 4th, so I'll be out of the office that day. And that's my superintendent's report.
Mr. Brill, I want to thank you for making it a little bit more personal, going to the campuses as you visit with the ones that will be terminated, I mean, instead of an email or something cold like that. I know it's very difficult, but I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, thank you for.
I really do.
I appreciate it.
On your item 5, when you were talking about, cuts, and then as we fine tune the pencil, possible, a little bit more cuts during the summer, right? Is there any idea of timeline of when that may come?
All right, so legally speaking, on our contractual employees, any change in assignment or change in pay, 45 days before the first day of instructions are cut off. So it usually falls around the 1st of July, July 4th, somewhere around there. So we'll have basically the month of June to make more decisions, okay? But once we get into that 45th day, the employee can grieve their position. Now, this is only our professional staff that are under Chapter 21 contracts. Our at-will employees, again, they're at our will for employment, so we can make those decisions at any time throughout the 12 months of the calendar year or the school year.
Anybody have any more questions, or you have more, sir, in your report?
No, that's it.
That was an item 6, pending construction litigation.
Oh,
If you,
I did fail to bring that up. My apologies. So I have a appointment with 60-something entities on July 2nd in San Antonio. So Juan Cruz will be representing Crystal City, and then Bartlett Cock and their whole string of subcontractors that did work at the high school. The litigation is pending on the auditorium. That's the most god-awful situation. When it rains, it's full of water. I mean,
Well, I think it's more than the auditorium because, the lawsuit is for $10 million.
yeah, and I won't pretend to know everything, Ray. All I know is we're meeting on the 2nd. And I'm the new person on the block, so Juan's going to be speaking on our behalf. I'll just be there in attendance now. I'm highly versed in school construction issues. I've been dealing with school construction for 20-plus years now, so I feel confident that I can speak to our needs. It just, my very, very first day on the job, I had Chief Rios take me on a tour of all the campuses, and I wanted to know what was going on with that auditorium. And I walked in there, and the whole front end of the building inside is just full of standing water. And you've got all these acoustic panels like you have in here, and the fabric seats and everything. They're just soaking up that humidity and the smell of mildew in there. Plus, you have bats, but that's not the issues. The building wasn't built correctly, and I didn't realize that the district had already settled with the architect, because my first comment was this is a civil engineer issue and a design issue. The general contractor builds the building the way it's designed. And anyhow, Mr. Cruz has educated me on finer points of litigation, which I can't say I've gone through any litigation on behalf of a school district like this. So, but I have been around school construction, and it's a beautiful facility. It's just it floods every time it rains, so I'm sure it's full of water. Tongue in cheek, you could be stocking catfish in there.
Martinez, he also recommended that 3 board members, so you decide,
I think he actually sent out an email. It's going to be us two. He's going, and he's sending the information as well.
fine.
Okay, now I'm through with my report.
Okay.
Just tell me if this is not allowed, but I understood that when we had those kind of contacts, that our previous super was also going to attend, because the previous super was one that was directly involved, together with Mr. Cruz, and those kind of discussions. So that's what I understood, one of the reasons why we did what we did in reference to pay.
And I believe Mr. Cruz will engage the previous superintendent when needed.
Okay.
You know, he'll guide us in that instance.
Okay.
Now moving on to item 6, consent action items. We have item 6A, consideration to approve the minutes for board meetings held on April 13th and April 27th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
On motion.
Second? Discussion?
This is only for the April 13th?
Yeah, April 13th and April 27th, both.
Sir, if I may, I was absent at the April 13th meeting,
Okay.
but I was present for the 27th, and I would hate to abstain for one that I attended. So I guess we have to take them individually.
I guess since these were a consent item, we can take them all together, or if,
Oh, you can, if a trustee asks, it can be separated, because there's some other other things under consent items that would require individual.
no, and I don't want to take all of them together. I know there's different items that will require additional.
That's why I'm asking that we separate the minutes. So on the first one, April 13th, I will be able to say I abstain, and I can then have my vote count on the April 27th one.
Okay, yeah, we can take that vote separate. It's the motion to consider and approve the minutes. Oh, well, we have to amend we can amend.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and amend my motion and we'll do it for the motion.
The amended motion would be
Just,
consideration to approve the minutes. Consideration to approve the minutes for the board meetings held on April 13th, 2026. That'll be item A or 6A. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? All in favor? For number 13. All against?
I abstain, sir.
Is this for
That's why I was asking.
the 13th?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're doing it for 27th.
yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could you clarify that motion and what he's actually asking for the public?
Yes, the motion is to separate, or what Mr. Bonilla was asking is to separate item 6A into two different motions for April 13th and then April 27th. And since Mr. Bonilla was not here part of the April 13th meeting, he wants to be able to abstain and not approve, or not vote for, or vote for one and not the other. So that's the clarification. Now, do I have a motion to consider?
A motion to approve the minutes for the board meetings held on April 27, 2026, which was a special board meeting.
second.
Discussion? No discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
I abstain because I wasn't here on that meeting.
A motion passes 6-0-1. Item 6C or item 6B, consideration to approve the monthly bills for April 2026.
A motion to approve the monthly bills for April 2026.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Or discussion, sorry? Sorry about that. No discussion. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now, item 6C, consideration to approve the renewal of the lease for the building located on 805 East Crockett Street to Little Tykes Daycare and to authorize the superintendent to negotiate this lease.
Motion.
I second to approve the renewal of the lease for the building located at 805 East Crockett Street to the Little Tykes Daycare and to authorize the superintendent to negotiate the lease.
Discussion? Sir, have they provided anything from the last, I know we approved it last year, I don't know if they.
The lease is in here, and I was told it's the same.
The same.
Yeah, I didn't verify that, but that's what I've been told.
Okay. All in favor?
Every little bit helps.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 6D, consideration to approve a resolution designating investment officers.
A motion. These are consent items, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yes, but, sir, I go.
So motion second? Yes.
I'm sorry, you all passed a motion, and correct me if I'm wrong, to approve the lease.
Yes.
It's dated for April of 2025.
It's to authorize the superintendent to negotiate the lease. What they submitted was the last year's. So you would be negotiating a new lease, and would you present it to the board again?
I can.
Yeah, we can present it to the.
I asked this morning because I thought it was what they told me, that discussions were made with the people that were renting, and I think you all added just
The last year's lease was here for us to reference, and that's
Yeah.
the information that was provided. Last year's lease, yes.
so.
I think it's been.
In other words, they're wanting to know if y'all will grant me authority to negotiate a lease similar to the one that's here.
Yes, I think we're just, what we are doing is giving Mr. Grill the authority to negotiate the lease. It talks about repeat as well. Move on to item 6D, consideration and approve a resolution designating investment officers. Have a motion?
Okay.
Motion by Mr. Espinosa, second.
I'm gonna second for the purpose of discussion. I know it says at least two of them, but it's my understanding that we don't have per se chief financial officer. We do have a business manager. I don't know if we have an accountant. So it comes down to the superintendent of schools and the business manager. Just want to point that out.
Yes.
I think we have an action item that will recommend the persons or been recommended.
That's what we're acting on,
No,
right?
that's what we're acting on right now. There isn't a future.
That's why I seconded for purpose of discussion. I wanted to point that out, that we don't per se have a chief financial officer. And I don't remember if we still have an accountant, if we have that title.
We do have a person with that title.
Okay, so,
And the other one, all right. Brada's business manager, so she would be the de facto, the CFO.
okay.
So motion discussion. All in favor? All opposed? All opposed? Mr. Espinosa, did you vote? Ray?
Ray, are you?
No, I'm okay.
Four.
Four.
All opposed? Ray, Cruz? Abstain. Motion passes 6-0-1. Item 6E, consideration to approve the suspension of board policy DC local permitting the superintendent temporary hiring authority from May 2026 to September 2026.
A motion to approve the suspension of board policy DC local, permitting the superintendent temporary hiring authority from May 2026 to September 2026.
Second.
Second.
Discussion, sir.
Discussion.
Is this the same one that we've been agreeing to before with the previous superintendent where they were given, she was delegated that authority?
Slightly different. It says April to August, and what I've asked for is May to to September, so it's a slight deviation, but y'all been doing this because it's in your policy.
It's already in
It just-
policy.
Because I'm getting here later, and hiring usually will go into September, so it's just that deviation language.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
You have, the motion is to consider suspension in the timeframe, changing it from the April 1st to, and August to the May to the September.
Yes.
Also contained within that policy is the final hiring authority for this board. And what it speaks to that timeframe only for classroom teachers. Are you waiving all employee hires to the superintendent?
Is that the recommendation of the superintendent?
It would be my recommendation for all professional hires, because I already have authority to make at-will hires, so yes.
It actually has more than just professional, that's why I'm clarifying, because if it's all, then it's all.
So we're talking about certified teachers and at will. Not, well,
Everybody,
administrators.
administrators.
In fact, may read, the superintendent has the sole authority to make recommendations to the board regarding the selection of personnel. The board retains final authority for the employment of contractual and non-contractual personnel. However, from April 1st to August 31st, the board delegates the superintendent the final authority to employ classroom teachers. So I'm just asking for clarification if not only the time frame is changed, but it also includes all personnel, contractual or non-contractual.
Thank you, Dr. Arena, for pointing that out. Yes, that is my intent for
Yeah.
all hires.
That way you do have that.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
This letting go of people also. Want that.
Resignations, once they resign, you can't stop a person unless they're within the 45 days before the first day of instruction, but
I think the reason that we did it is because, I mean, around that time, I mean, there's a lot of people trying to, find employment here or there or whatever. And the superintendent, the principals might recommend somebody, but they have to wait till we have a board meeting. And by that time, well, La Parra wants me right now, or Carrizo wants me.
No.
And it already reads that in the policy. That's written in the policy to hire teachers. What the intent is to, all hiring, practices will be delegated to Mr. Grillo,
I
superintendent.
just wanted to be clear so that everyone understood that, so that when he actually does this, that it's within the understanding of the board.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, I mean, even though he's having the authority, we stated that, the principals would sit down with whoever applied and would submit, their choice of person, and he would sign it based on the recommendation. We didn't have to wait for.
correct,
I mean.
correct.
So,
What I mentioned to the principals is, to the degree possible, interview, if they find someone they like, to call my office and bring them over that day. I meet them, ask them a few questions. If I concur, then we offer them the job there on the spot. And this is what I've been accustomed to doing, and it helps us get people hired where they're not getting a job offer, like you said, at La Pryor or Carrizo or somewhere else, while we're waiting for a board meeting. And this could be an administrative position. I don't anticipate any administrative position, but it could be a counselor, librarian, or anybody else for that matter. So I appreciate you pointing that out, Dr. Reyna.
Dr. Anna, would you recommend us or amending the motion to read that, or?
I don't think that it's necessary because you're asking to waive the policy, but it specifically only addresses the time frame. So as long as the record shows that the intention is to be inclusive of contractual and non-contractual, and that you know that that's what you're voting on, I think that would be acceptable.
Can you, Ms. Gaudos, can you make sure that the minutes reflect? Alrighty. Do I have a first and a second discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7A, discussion and action to approve opening a deposit account with Prime Bank to facilitate the receipt of tax distributions.
A motion to approve opening a deposit account with Prime Bank to facilitate the receipt of tax distributions.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any discussion? I guess my only clarification is that this is just to receive the loan payments, right? This is not for any additional.
Correct. We may, when it all goes through, we'll have to deposit our tax receipts there. That's part of the arrangement. To secure the loan and prepare for the payment, the upcoming payment. It would be a problem.
Is that gonna be all the tax receipts or tax receipts up to a certain
For the
payback?
period, for the year,
Okay.
this coming year.
Oh, okay,
So
discussion?
what's gonna happen to,
That would still be our depository, correct, Zavala County Bank? Whenever we decide to cut payroll, we transfer money from here to
Yes.
the other.
And they even offer to match the Lone Star investment pool rates for the funds that they do hold.
Does that have anything to do, does that do anything to our Lone Star investment pool or anything with Zavala County?
Because they'll match, so we shouldn't lose anything.
Okay. Any questions, any other questions?
I'm concerned about the deposit of tax receipts. I don't mind opening up one for their loan, that they're gonna give us to put the money there, to be able to take it out to pay bills or whatever. But, it sounds to me that, we are guaranteeing payments, of that loan, by depositing tax receipts to that account. And then, but if I know how they'll be able to get them out, just automatic at a certain time, I know. That's why, 3 payments or something like that, that they're asking for.
And I think that's what the tax anticipatory note is. You're securing them with our tax revenues. So in order for us to secure that loan, that's part of the requirement. But as far as cutting payroll and everything, it'd still be the same as we do now, as we deposit from the Lone Star investment pool into Zavala County Bank, it'd be the same. The reason we deposit into the Lone Star investment pool is because it accrues a daily interest rate depending on the money that's in there. But Prime Bank will go ahead and match the interest rate that the Lone Star investment.
I understand all that, I just.
But as part of the agreement, there isn't any agreement, or there isn't anything in the agreement that states that we have to open up for them to be our depository or anything like
That
that.
comes around, I think, every couple of years.
I just to be on the safe side, whatever we put in writing, we put things in writing, it specifies that stipulation about tax receipts. Because we could get the money, goes into our general fund, we can dedicate some of that money over and maybe put it into that account. But there has to be some kind of.
Mr. Velasquez, can you explain a little bit more of how the depository works from whenever we receive funds from the taxing entity?
Currently, what we do is the prison district takes our funds, the deposit slip to our account and makes that deposit. It's a single deposit which includes the maintenance and operation and the debt service funds. In this case, we'll separate the funds. INS goes to the Lone Star investment, and the M&O fund will deposit into the holding account in Prime Bank. They'll sit there and generate revenue for us, and just as it does at Lone Star, which is what's on that document. It secures their payment, makes them comfortable, and that's also a place where we'll be depositing the revenue or the proceeds from the loans that they will provide.
My concern, Robert, would be that if we deposit the first 1 point something, how much is it? How much are we asking for the loan?
0.5.
4.5.
4.5, all of it, the first tax receipts that we get are gonna be put over there. It's like, we're gonna have to run besides the loan, how we're gonna run our business.
It operates the same way. It's gonna get deposited over there. but as soon as we need money, we do a wire transfer too.
If I prefer, I'd be more comfortable if it's put in writing specifically stating how it's gonna work.
We're in a bit of a crunch right now. We've scheduled up payroll for Friday. We're in great anticipation that the bank will lend us the money by tomorrow or Wednesday. I'd really like not to detain them or throw any obstacles in that direction. Currently, we're under the understanding they cannot provide us with proceeds. An account that we opened, we're looking at right now on your agenda. And after that, any details are in that document that you approved last week, and they will not get in the way. So us conducting business as we've done as usual. It only has an additional account with a hold no receipts. Guarantees payment of the loan. Shouldn't have any
I
problems.
was loaning somebody 4.5, I would want assurances it was to me.
They're lending us $4.5 million with unsecured, if they give it to us this week. After that, the proceeds will start to build up from the receipts, and that's not until September. Those receipts go into the bank.
Robert, appreciate the efforts that you and our superintendent put into this. And I'm not trying to put any glitch into anything. It's just that as it is, I personally feel like I really let down on my fiduciary duties to our citizens. I don't want to make it any worse, because this thing about should, could, would, to me, doesn't hold any more water. I like to see it in writing that specifies those things for me. Put it in writing, I don't see any problem.
Just do we have any other discussions or anything? I mean, the way it's written now, I mean, we're gonna, there's already been a motion and a second to accept the way it's written now. Any more discussions? Now, I know that we got the packet over a week ago. I mean, if we had questions, in the policy, you could ask questions throughout the week and send the emails into the superintendent, and we could iron them out that way. So they'll be moving forward with a vote. All in favor? All opposed?
I'll abstain.
I oppose because I've never heard anybody say, we're gonna put it in writing. That's why.
Motion carries 5-1-1.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes, sir.
On the consent items on D.
Yes.
Is that not the same thing that we have in page 64 of the agenda? It's an action item.
We made some changes, so the handout is the one that.
No problem. I mean, we already approved it here on the consent. We don't have to approve it in 64, in page 64. So it's the same thing.
The one that was listed here was the one.
The one that's loose is different.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, when we get there.
But I think in this one, we have the people that are gonna be recommended.
Yes.
For that position.
Okay.
You have a revised version on your desk.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what.
This one's revised from what the consent action is, right?
Right.
Okay. We'll go to item 7B. Discussion action to approve the 2026-2027 allotment antique certification. Do you have a presentation or?
You have anything, sir?
Huh? 7B, yeah. Yeah, we can present before. I don't know if it's gonna be a.
This is the annual certification, that the Board of Trustees approved the ratification of the 2026-2027 certification of provision of instructional materials survey. And this is, basically saying to the state, that the local school systems are required to annually certify to the State Board of Education and TEA Commissioner that students have access to instructional materials covering all of Texas essential knowledge and skills, TEKS, for all required subjects except physical education. School systems are required to certify that they protect against access to obscene or harmful content in compliance with the requirements for certification under the Children's Internet Protection Act. We do this every year, and this is for all the TEKS, RLA, K through 12, math, K through 12, social studies, K through 12, and science, K through 12, and again, find the Children's Internet Protection Act. We do this every year. We're asking that you approve the ratification of the 2026-2027 certification of provision of instructional materials survey.
You have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Any discussion? No questions? Yes.
Second?
Yes. Well, Mr. Espinosa seconded. Oh, well, I was taking discussion. Does anybody have any questions? No? All in favor? All opposed? Mr. Espinosa, did you? In favor? Motion carries 7-0.
With the scores.
Item 7C, discussion and action to approve a resolution to participate in a joint election with Zavala County to be held November 3rd, 2026.
Motion.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
Mr. Espinosa, second?
Second.
Mr. Espinosa, second. Gabriel?
Okay.
Discussion? No discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7D, discussion and action to approve a contract for election services for the November 3rd, 2026 school board trustee election. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Espinosa, motion. Second?
I'll second.
Second. Mr. Espinosa. Discussion?
Who's up for?
Election.
Up for election, I believe, is Mr. Houston.
Sammy and Gabe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Mr. Bonilla and Mr. Espinosa.
Your favorite.
4 year, wow.
Is that all, that's all the questions? No? No more questions? All in favor? All opposed?
Mr. Martinez.
Yes. Motion carries,
Correct.
7-0.
Ms. Carlos, to find out when people can start filing for. So I've been asking me, that way we can put it in the newspaper or.
And it's required to be posted on the website, and all that information will be posted at the time.
Get it from the CASB website and we put it.
Whatever, I mean.
I believe the last day is sometime at the end of July. Not too sure.
And the applications are
Yes,
usually the last week, something like that.
that's the last day. Item 7F, discussion and action regarding Senate Bill 546 on the 3-point seat belts. What's that? Oh, 7E. Sorry, I wrote. Item 7E, discussion action to change the date of the June regular board meeting to June 1st, 2026.
Motion.
Give a second.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Grove, do you have any? anything to
No,
say?
we're moving it because of me, so.
Okay.
The time
I'll be
will
on
be the same.
vacation, I'll be gone on the 8th, so That's why we're moving.
The timing will still be. 6
Oh, everything
p.m.,
would
right?
stay the same, yes. 6 o'clock.
So who seconded the motion?
Who's, Mr. Mata? It was first by Mr. Espinosa and second by Mr. Mata. All in favor? All opposed? A motion carries 7-0. Now item 7F, discussion and action regarding Senate Bill 546 on the 3-point seatbelts.
Martinez, members of the board, and Superintendent Mr. Grill, provided a little presentation for y'all for this resolution. Gives you a little bit of information on what we're speaking about here. Today, we're going to be addressing the Senate Bill 546, which requires that all newer buses have 3-point seatbelts on them for safety issues. Before 2018, buses were exempt, but now after legislation approved Senate Bill 546 and in 2025, it has expanded the requirements to include the entire fleet of our buses. Right, so I've provided in this document an audit of our current fleet and an estimated cost of what it's going to take to be in compliance with this Senate bill. Some of the, of course, the improvement of the seatbelts is going to be for safety. The padded seats are good for frontal collisions, but they're not good for side impacts or rollovers in case of a rollover. So that's where the seatbelts come into play and make it a lot safer for our students who are traveling in buses. Some of the added benefits are a calmer atmosphere because the students are tied down to the seats per se. Noise reduction and driver focus. The drivers get to focus on driving instead of what's going on behind them. Students are walking around perhaps. We're getting to the financial challenge though. I'm already in the next page, titled financial challenge, right? So now we're facing with having to be in compliance by September 2029. So that's what we're faced with, right? All the districts are currently facing this. Currently right now, our bus fleet, we have, that we're currently using, we have 17 buses. We're using them anywhere from buses from the year 2005 all the way to 2024. Kind of staggered in the age of the buses, but some of them are getting up there in age. So we have to make a decision whether it's feasible to just improve the buses that we have, the current fleet, or buy new buses. Then we got to compare the cost, right? And I provided some of those numbers here for y'all today. The current cost estimate of retrofitting a bus with 3-point seatbelts is anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000 right now, as we're looking at these prices. So we have to find funding sources for it. See, we can put it in our budget. Of course, right now we're not we don't have a healthy budget where we can do that right now. Grants, there's speak of grants right now, but there are no grants out there right now for this. So we're hoping that in the near future, the state will provide some financial assistance for this and perhaps open up some grants for us so that we can apply for it. As I mentioned earlier, if you look in your presentation, there is a small chart that kind of gives you a little brief overview of our status. You know, I know there's another spreadsheet in there, but this one's a little bit more simpler to understand. Currently, right now, we have 5 transit buses with 4-point harnesses. These are the safety seats that have a little booster seat for the smaller children. What happens is that the older children cannot use these seatbelts, so eventually we probably have to install those 3-point seatbelts for the larger students or for the older students, right? We're looking at 4 transit buses right now that have no belts whatsoever. Estimated cost is, like I said, I mentioned $10,000 per bus, so we're looking at $90,000 right there alone to retrofit the buses. We do have 8 buses on the positive side. We do have 8 buses that are compliant right now with the 3-point harnesses. These are 77 passenger buses, 71 passenger buses as well. So they hold a lot of children. We're currently sitting at 47% compliant, right? And like I said, we're looking at about an estimated cost of $90,000 at a comparison of a bus, a brand new bus is around $135,000, more or less, to purchase a new one. So you all can see the benefit of just retrofitting our current fleet. Now we do have 4 buses that have mechanical issues in our current fleet, so, you know, we have to address that as well. Being that they're, you know, they're high up their names. All right, so, today we want to just take this is the first step in this process. This information, this resolution that you're about to take action on is due in the Sentinel portal, the Sentinel TX portal by May 29th, which I will upload as soon as you all approve this, if you all approve this tonight. I will enter all the information that is necessary, including the estimated cost, the audit that I conducted, all that will be in there. I do want to give credit to the maintenance department for assisting me with this, you know, because it is a lot of information to look at. So I appreciate their assistance with this, but that's the information I have, and I'll open it up to questions if y'all have any questions for me.
Questions, sir?
Answering.
For this is gonna be, we're gonna be asking for a waiver to.
Yes, sir. Yes, part of the decision today will be whether we are in a good financial status to purchase these upgrades or new buses, either one. Of course, we know without a doubt that we're not.
My question is, like for our special ed kids, it is mandatory, right? For this waiver, we have any kids that are?
We have enough buses right now to cover our special ed students, yes, sir. We're good right now, sir, as far as special ed is concerned. They're driving the newer buses.
Mention also mechanical problems. I mean, I know, Mr. Hernandez is not here. Where are those buses going or what? Or?
Those buses right now, as far as for repairs, you mean, or? Well, we're having a company from Eagle Pass coming over to repair them as needed. But right now, we're focusing on the buses that travel out of town for sure, and repairing those first. But
is there any one that we can hire here?
Not that I know, sir. As far as my knowledge goes, so I'm not sure.
If we can look at that, because there's a person out of Uvalde that he's very good. And he's willing to apply here in Crystal City at a very low rate to help us.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we can advertise a position, I mean.
I think he came one day to look at the buses, and he spoke with Albertico.
Okay.
It's way cheaper than the.
I can visit with Mr. Hernandez and see.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes I feel like when we send them to like Eagle Pass, and it was happening with our softball and baseball field. I mean, when we're having the problems of the leaks and everything, people from Eagle Pass were coming and fix that thing, and a month later, seems like, and we got somebody here that was in Crystal City,
where we go,
and they fixed them all, and we haven't had any problems, so.
I understand, sir.
So, just for the notes.
I mean, we can, I think right now with the way our budget is, I don't think we can be opening positions as freely or anything, right? In terms of the funding, last year the state did, you know, they had a safety allotment that came through as part of the legislation. I don't know if that type of money or that allotment can, or this can be fit into that allotment spending.
From my understanding, sir, would you like to address that?
I can speak to that. So the commissioner actually spoke to us 2 weeks ago now about this. So what Juan's got to upload into Sentinel is this resolution, and we also have to cite that we don't have the money to retrofit the buses with the 3 point. So the law goes into effect September of 2029. So he is supposed to give the legislature, because we'll have a legislative session next spring, and he's supposed to address this to the legislators about how many school districts in the state of Texas can't meet the intent of the new law. And so he made it clear he couldn't promise that there was going to be funding, but he felt like the legislators would be compassionate to hear how many school districts couldn't meet the intent of the law without undue hardship financially. So I would speculate, based on what the commissioner said, that there'll be some kind of a funding or a grant or something to apply for. So you all need to kind of keep that in mind as we're in this time of the year next year, May of 28, or 27, I should say, because they'll be winding down the session and we should know or be hearing something to that effect. And we just don't want to miss funding like maybe was missed on the school safety allotment monies.
Hopefully we'll cross.
I had a question, I had a question about, I passed by the bus barn regularly, and I always wonder, you mentioned a total of 17, that's all the buses we have there? Or we have
No,
more?
so there's plenty more, but those are the ones in the back row are deemed,
Okay, so-
can't use those anymore.
Maybe a source of revenue.
So I talked to Tico about that specifically, because I went with a walk around with him and I said, you know, what about all these old buses back here? And he says, basically they were junk. And I said, well, then we need to declare them surplus to the board so we can get rid of them. And he said he does from time to time get some of these larger game ranches come by wanting to buy them because they turn them into like apartments or something for hunters. And I said, well, then let's get this to the board.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not doing any good for us, let's get them out of our inventory. And if, you know, nothing else, now in Sabinow, we'd haul them into San Antonio with a tow truck and we'd just sell them for scrap steel at a pick and pull place. But either way, you know, it's getting them out of our inventory, and even if we don't make a bunch of money, if we can just get them out of it because they're eyesores.
And let's put it on our next agenda, so that's not.
We can do that. We can do.
Some food for thought, there is a pick and pull that just opened in the prior. We did call them and they're willing to come pick up the buses.
Oh, that's good, Mr.
So we don't have to even haul them, we don't have to drain the fluids.
We just, all we have to do is declare them a surplus material for the board.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I think we can look into it. Right now, we'll just get back to
Appreciate
the.
that.
Any other questions regarding the 3-point seatbelts?
I was just curious, back to student behavior, these seatbelt installments, will they have like a notification system if they're not?
No, sir. No, they're all manual, sir. So I don't have any type of digital interface. No, sir. No. Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Any further questions? I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Juan.
Do you have a motion? First, Mr. Espinosa. Second?
But what is that, what is the actual motion? What are we gonna adopt?
What he thinks just to be in compliance. The Senate,
What the action item reads, discussion action regarding Senate Bill 546 on 3-point seatbelts. Right.
What's the action?
What's that? Page 123 has a recommendation.
And thank you.
Mr. Grove, you could read the recommendation, or what's the recommendation of the district?
Oh, declaring financial hardship.
123.
Yes, that would be my recommendation.
Can you read it for the record, sir? Can you read it out?
That the Board of Trustees approve a resolution regarding Senate Bill 546, declaring financial hardship and temporary exemption from 546 compliance.
Do you have a motion? Espinosa, motion, second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Espinosa. Discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. At this time, the Board of Trustees will move to item 8, closed session. We'll meet in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and the Open Meetings Act.
8:33.